Hello, you villainous knaves. There is much readathoning afoot in July. Hey bookbellas and fellas, Kira here, and today I'm going to be discussing my TBR for July of 2019. There is so much going on in July. There's so many good readathons, so many good read-alongs, and I'm going to be going over the ones I'm going to be participating in this coming July. So one of the biggest readathons that is going on right now is the Book Junkie Trials. There are 4 different classes. You can either be the Magi, the Scribe, the Outlaw, or the Bards. There's reading requirements for each one. There's a map. You do have to read them in order. So I'm going to go over what I'm going to be reading for my TBR for that. So I've decided that I'm going to be a Magi. They have 2 different ways you can pretty much pick what class you're in. You can either take a test or you can just decide whichever class you want to be in based on the prompts that there are. So for me, I did test into becoming a mage, and well, I was kind of going back and forth between Scribe and Mage. There was a lot of stuff that I really wanted to read that really fit the Scribe well, but in the end I decided to go with Mage because I got a 3-day lead. You get to start on Friday the 28th of June rather than having to wait till July to actually start your TBR, which I value extra time to read because sometimes I read a little bit slowly, so it gives me a good breathing room. I'm probably really ambitious like on this TBR because one of these books is huge, but we're gonna see how this is gonna go. So for the first prompt of the Magi, there is Orc Grove. Read a book that is gruesome, gory, or gritty. But see, with the Magi, you actually have to pick a book that's kind of outside your comfort zones. I actually picked up Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. A while back, this was a book that I said I would never read. I said I would never read the series because I had heard too many mixed things about it. And because I am such a broad reader, I don't really have a zone that makes me uncomfortable. So the only thing I could think of to do to make myself a little bit uncomfortable is to read something that I thought I would never read before. This book is also extremely gruesome and extremely gritty because you actually have Audrey Rose, who's working in 1888, working in forensics. And so she's having to cut open dead bodies, which is super gritty. This actually fits that prompt perfectly. So after I've traveled to Orc Grove, I end up going to Old Pirate Cove. Read a book that takes place at least partially on the sea. This is The Wolf and the Whale. I actually kind of thumbed through this and they did mention the ocean and being on the ocean and everything else. So I'm going to be reading this one next for my writing prompt. This is The Wolf and the Whale by Joanna Max Brodsky. There is a very old story rarely told of a wolf that runs into the ocean and becomes a whale. So this does actually have a lot to do with the sea. And this has actually been on my TBR for a little while, but it feels like it's got a lot of mythology, and I'm really glad to be getting around to this finally, so this is actually the perfect opportunity. After I go to Old Pirate Cove, the next is Glimmer, and that one you're supposed to read a beautiful book. So I decided to read Taylor Jenkins Reid After I Do. This actually is going to be paired with the Taylor Jenkins Read Along, which is going to be 1 book a month. We started last month, starting off and we're reading all of her books in publication order, and I figured this was a perfect time for me to start reading her books again, not to mention the fact that it is beautiful. There is some flowers on this, and I think it's just going to be perfect for this writing prompt because I love flowers. I think they're beautiful. So I think this is perfect for having a beautiful cover. So the next place we travel to is the Draconic Isle, which in order to learn some draconic knowledge, we must have a dragon on the cover. The Priory of the Orange Tree is perfect for this. The dragon is right front and center, sort of, but he's definitely all over the book. He's on the back also. So we've got a lot of dragon going on here. This is one of my most anticipated books of 2019. I have not gotten to this because it is a brick. This book is going to take me a while to get through. So those 3 extra days that I'm gaining by being a mage is going to really, really help me in this. So the last book in all of this is our quest for the Bookie Grail, which is reading the group book. The group book for the Book Junkie Trials is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I am a huge fan of the movie. The movie has always been very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love the movie, so I'm very excited to be getting into this finally. I actually bought this special just for the readathon because I have been meaning to read this, but I just never had the time or the gumption or the mood. So this readathon is actually very perfect. No matter what class you are, this is where you end up. You always end up at the group book. Really quite perfect. And honestly, like, it's such a small book and there's only about 200 pages. So this book definitely does not take a long time to read. Once you've done that, you can go and travel the map anywhere you want. I am going to leave a video, the video for the Book Junkie Trials, like down in the description below, in case you haven't heard of this yet and you want to participate, because it's going to be a really awesome readathon. And if you read more than just what you have there has been alluded that they are going to do this again next year. The more you read, like, you're going to be like almost like leveling up, and they're going to be giving you more abilities and more ways to really help yourself during the next readathon next year. So if you guys want to check out those other classes, that is in the description below. So the next readathon that I am going to be participating in is the medievalathon. This is being ran by Holly Hart's Books, and I'm also going to leave that video down in the description below, just in case this was another readathon that you had not heard about. I am very, very excited about this. This was another really amazing readathon that was going on, and I actually did double up between the two readathons so that I am not trying to be too ambitious, and it will allow me to read both of them without having to worry like that I mean, there's still a chance I may not complete all of these because that Prior of the Orange Tree is going to take me some time. So in the medievalathon, you have to earn like your crown, your helmet, your armor, your thigh armor, your shoes, your red cape, and then of course, like, you also have to figure out how to get weapons. So there's also different things to go through with that as well. Depending on how many books you read will depend on what class you end up in. So it sounds to me like you can double up here. So in order to get my crown, because, you know, I gotta get the crown, like, that is like the top priority. So you actually have to read a book where a royal is fighting for her crown. I am looking at reading The Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. This is a book where she's called the Ash Princess because she is rising up from the ashes to reclaim her crown. This is a book that I've been wanting to get to for quite a while, especially after Elliot Brooks mentioned that she had read it and loved it. I was kind of on the fence about it before I saw her read it, but I am very excited to be getting to this. This was definitely one of the top books like that I wanted to get to very soon. So in order to get my helmet, I have to read a book with a dragon on the cover. So the Priority of the Orange Tree is also going to be serving for this challenge as well. In order to get my chest piece for my armor, I have to read a shiny book. I'm hoping to get to this because this has been a book that I've been eyeing for a long time. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor has a lot of lyrical writing, and it's supposed to be extremely beautiful. And I know it's very popular here in the booktube community, and I have not yet gotten to this. And I'm hoping to get to this extremely soon. I'm hoping like to fly through like all of my books so that I can get to this. So my thigh armor, I need to read a thick paperback. Once again, I am doubling up. The Wolf in the Whale. Well, this is about over like 500 pages, which is a fairly thick paperback. So this will be perfect for that. In order to get my red cape, I have to read a book with red on the cover. I really needed to pick a short book for this, so I picked the B.E. Schwab's Darker Shades of Magic, The Steel Prince, which is her graphic novel, and there is red on the spine and on the back, so there is plenty of red on this cover, and this will be a very quick read. I know I'm gonna need some quick reads because I'm gonna need something that I can fly through, like with all of these really big books that I'm taking on this month. So it looks like I'm gonna be going shoeless though, because I don't have a book that has yellow edges to it. So I'm not going to be focusing heavily on weapons unless I find out that one of these books has one of the other things in it to get. I actually am going to be looking at getting a sword, which for the sword challenge, you have to read a book with something pointy on the cover. For this, I am going to be using Stalking Jack the Ripper. If you look here, she's got a little knife. I mean, pretty much like I think that would qualify as having something pointy on the cover. Now, in order to get 2 small swords, you have to read a book with assassins. And in order to get a bow and arrow, you have to read a book with elves. And to get an axe, you have to read a book with mercenaries. I haven't read any of these books before, so if I find out that one of these books has that, then I will be able to get more weapons. But as it stands right now, I am looking at just a sword. Those are all of the things that I am going to be participating in the month of July. It's going to be super busy, and I'm going to be reading up a storm. I'm also hoping to try to take notes if I have time for a lot of these books, because I get back to doing individual reviews of books, because I know it's been a while since I have done that, and I know that I am missing being able to just gush or talk about in-depth books, not just doing a monthly wrap-up, but really digging into them. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you like this video, hit the little like, hit subscribe, and hit the little bell icon if you receive emails every time I post. It really helps me out if you guys hit that little like button, or hit subscribe, or hit the little bell icon so you guys can come joining me for the next video. Also, if you guys want to interact with me, I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and Amazon. Those links are located in the description below. As always, thank you guys so much for joining me for the end, and I will see you all again very soon.